The eagle has finally landed. It's a very pivotal piece of the puzzle right here. Want to give a shout out to Rob Zacconi. Hooked me up with these headers. Man, and the crazy part is, I swear, like, all the stars aligned when I found these. Because not only do Hemis have a bunch of different exhaust port configurations, but the fact that these are exiting in the same direction that I need them to go, as well as using the parts that I wanted to build the headers with anyways. So Pro Fabrication billet flanges. These are a pretty trick piece. I'll actually show you what these look like, because I purchased a set with the intentions of having to have my headers built before I found these. But you can see how these are all contoured and like they are pretty much flush with the port. I wish I had the headers off so I could show you, but you can't see a ridge at all, no step or anything. It's just a nice smooth transition into the port. So these will be going up for sale. Try to post those today. But these headers, these are a very nice piece. You can see Elmer billet collectors. It's a little dusty in there. I gotta clean them out, but nice one-piece billet, everything nice and contoured. I want to say these are like 3-inch primaries, which is absolutely insane. Very, very beefy headers. Very happy with them. The one thing I can see right off the bat, and before I make any judgment right now, I'm gonna just take it up to the shop, try to mount these heads on the mock-up block that I got in my chassis. But one thing that I do see that might be a little bit of an issue is the oil pump clearance. So I run a 2-stage dry sump oil pump from RCD Engineering, which is kind of like the go-to on this type of application. But the 2-stage pump, since it has an extra stage, it actually sits out a little bit further. And I think it might interfere with this collector right in this area right here, or it'll be extremely close. So I might have to go down to like a single stage pump, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. But I'm thinking that should fix my issue because it's a little bit shorter, because it's, you know, lacking a stage. But for the most part, headers look pretty good. Can't complain. Once again, shout out to Rob. And yeah, so that worked out pretty good. And then another thing, I got all of my nice flanges from Race Part Solutions. Shout out to Wade over there. Got some nice 5-inch aluminum downpipe flanges. These things are really nice. I think you can actually use these to make a 4-inch or 5-inch downpipe. In my case, I'll be going to a 5-inch hood exits, or dual 5-inch hood exits. And yeah, that should work out pretty good. Clearview oil filter, of course. They actually had a pretty trick piece at PRI that I might be adding to this piece, but it's essentially a primer pump that they offer now that bolts right up to these Clearview filtration filters. It's similar to like the Peterson primer pump. It's like the same concept, but it'll be nice to have matched components and something that actually bolts together in one nice tidy assembly. So I'll probably be getting that. So I also got in my paddle shifting kit. Crazy part is this actually came from a local company, and I didn't find out about this until after the fact, but this kit is from Seems Legit Garage, and it seems to be a pretty solid kit. It works with like your standard 6-bolt race steering wheel, and then you can see they have like this billet. Everything is billet aluminum on this. They got this billet stanchion that bolts on the back. I won't be using this piece right here that's actually bolted on the back. I just more so did this just so I can mock everything up on the steering wheel, because I have a Crontec steering wheel coupler coming to eliminate the trans brake wires and what you would normally see in like in a drag car, those like corrugated telephone wires. I think that's like the ugliest thing on earth. But you can see paddle shifters, and it's like a nice distinct click too, which I really like. I'll be integrating quite quite a bit of different logic combinations using these. So I'll use these to stage, I'll use it to bump the car in, and then when I'm street driving, this will also act as a way to shift my Turbo 400 and engage the gear vendors, because I will be using the gear vendors as a underdrive and an overdrive. So that's why I kind of referred to my Turbo 400 as a 6-speed in one of my last videos, because it essentially kind of is, because with the gear splitting with the gear vendors, you double the amount of gears that you get natively in whatever transmission you're running. So like if you get a power glide and you use the underdrive and overdrive feature of the gear vendors, you essentially have a 4-speed. If you do the same thing with a Turbo 400, you essentially have a 6-speed. So that'll be pretty cool. And yeah, pretty nice kit. Everything is CNC billet, and didn't really break the bank too bad too. It's pretty affordable kit, so check them out when you get a chance. This is a pretty trick piece I got in the mail. This is actually made by Steer Clear. It's a offset steering box, and this is really beneficial specifically for like G bodies and S10s. I mean, you could use this on any project, but a lot of people with like the G bodies and the S10s, they know what we go through with the steering shaft situation, especially when you start putting like big headers, big engines in the engine bay. But essentially how this works is you have input steering come in from this direction, from like your steering column, and then it can output like all the way over here. So this is a really trick piece. It's all billet CNC aluminum, or CNC billet aluminum. You could pretty much clock it in any direction. You can see it has like this 4-bolt mounting hole feature, and this will help me greatly with my truck, especially with how wide the Hemi heads are on this. So it's proven to be a little problematic, but I think we got it all knocked out, and I'll show you guys when I go back to the shop today. But pretty nice piece. Definitely check it out if you if you got an interesting steering scenario like I do. As I'm running an electric E-Pass on my truck. This is made by DCE. It's a dynamic E-Pass system. Pretty compact unit because it's just an electric motor integrated into the steering column. And I'll also show you guys that at the shop too. It'll clear up a lot of stuff on that. So without further ado, I'm gonna actually head up to the shop, show you guys what the progress and the status of everything is, and then just go from there. Give you an overview of the chassis as well too, because some people were wanting to know what the cage looked like and what I was building the cage spec to. It'll be a 25.2 chassis, and you can just check it out when when I go up to the shop. So give me a few, head up there and show you what's going on. All right, guys, so back up at the shop. See, I got the heads on. Got the headers on. Fit absolutely beautifully. See if I can fit this camera in there. Get your shots inside. Got some other stuff knocked out too. Got the steering all knocked out. Steering is all knocked out. You see the nice cross member and reinforcements. Triangular gussets. Strange stiletto rack. Being mounted on the bottom. Originally we did have it up top, but we had to move it down to the bottom just to gain some more clearance, because this is a pretty crucial area right here, because the harmonic balancer hangs down below the oil pan rail quite a bit. So just wanted to be more safe than sorry. New A-arms, new tie rods. So it just got done. Still got to weld an adjustment nut on the actual tie rod so you can turn it. I think quite a few people forget to do that. They'll get all this stuff powder coated, and then they can't turn it, and they gotta mar up that fresh powder coat finish because they didn't think it through and didn't put a grab nut on it. But headers fit pretty good. Pretty happy with them. One thing I will have to change on these is these are basically 4-inch collectors right here. So I ordered some 4-inch to 3.5-inch reducer cones. I think we'll probably just end up cutting these V-bands right off. Normally I wouldn't do that, but since the turbos are up here and it'll be a pretty short hot side because the turbos are mounted in the grill, I'll probably have like less than 2 feet of piping into this, honestly. It shouldn't be too hard to take the headers off without having a V-band here, because I just kind of need the space, especially on this header right here. You can kind of see how close it is to this strut bar. So probably gain about 1 inch, maybe about a little bit over 1 inch once that's cut off, and then probably do a pipe cut through here up to this area where the turbos will sit, and pretty much go from there. Also, column is in and mounted. Kind of want to get in here and show you guys this. Let me put this over here. So a lot of this stuff we did kind of just coat with paint, because the shop, it will condensate and it'll rust the bars. So we don't want that, but this stuff will end up getting stripped to bare metal and powder coated. But got the column in, DCE E-Pass column. So basically you would run this with a manual rack like I am. I'm using a strange stiletto rack with a 20, I believe it's a 22-to-1 ratio. But you can see the electric motor is integrated into the column, nice and neat, to give you that assist. And then it even, to take it a step further, this actually has tilt as well, so you can kind of see nice tilt feature, streetcar stuff. I got a Momo flat bottom steering wheel, got the paddles on here, which feel great, feel pretty natural, to be honest. And then what's even better about this E-Pass column is it's actually wheel speed referenced, so it'll adjust the amount of assist based off the wheel speed that it sees, so you don't have 100% of assist while you're doing like 70 on the highway. These are just tacked in right now, but the mounts are actually welded in pretty good. So mounts are welded in. But yeah, this feels good. These paddles, I'll use these to stage. I'll use them to shift the Turbo 400. Use the gear benders as a underdrive, overdrive, like I mentioned before. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with it. Mounts good, feels comfortable in here. Even with this funny car cage, it doesn't feel too bad in here, to be completely honest. This actually feels pretty comfortable. Paddle shifts feel pretty good. Like I said, this column I can actually move up and down, which is pretty nice. I am waiting on the Frontech steering wheel coupler. That will basically allow me to get rid of the trans brake wiring, like how it usually dangles through the wheels. I hate that crap. But that piece I'm waiting to get. Probably try to get that at the beginning of January or so. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with mounting the steering wheel and the column and everything. It feels natural. I will have some padding in the seat, so I mean, I will be like in a little bit more of an elevated position, but I mean, it feels pretty good, to be honest. And then you guys got to remember too, I'm also putting the stock dash back in this car. Try to make everything look as OEM as possible. That's just the look that I'm going for, I guess you could say. Not really a fan of the whole exposed bar thing. I mean, I can only do so much with this because it's just, you know, it's safety. So, but yeah, pretty good. And then I also have this steer clear box, which I mentioned before. But basically, this column, the U-joint, it'll exit. The U-joint just goes straight. It's not angled like a traditional, like lightweight column like most guys are running in their race cars. So basically, with this being mounted on the firewall, this spline right here will come straight through that hole which I'll put a grommet on too, just to seal it off and make it look cleaner. And then it drops the steering 10 inches, 10-inch center line down to under the headers. So this right here was a lifesaver. So shout out to the guy that makes these. I think these have been around for quite a minute. Steer clear boxes. And yeah, that should work pretty good. So next time I'll probably bring the turbos up here. Get that stuff mounted. But I think we're on a pretty good path now. Now that I got the headers, we can kind of see what the clearance is for the double frame rail, because that has to come up here and tie into this bar. So it might have to have like a slight curvature to it probably. So that kind of reinforces the fact what I said about, you know, kicking this out with a pipe cut, bringing it in through the core support. But that's a pretty nice straight path right there. So it worked out pretty good. This thing is so dusty. And a few people asked me what type of wheels and tires I'm running. These tires I probably will end up changing because they've been on these wheels for quite a while, and I don't know if these are still good to race on. I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking. But these are basically 15 by 14 wheeled V-Series double bead lot, 3-inch back spacing. So these are some wide wheels. I got a 315 on them right now. This is basically what I'll run when I get the truck out, between the 315 and a, you know, regular 275 or 28. And then I'm measuring this area right here for the fuel cell, so hopefully you can get a sponsor on board for that. Don't want to mention anything yet, but it'll be a good way for me to showcase their products. I want to run some air jacks on this too, but still got to put in the rear window bars. And it's funny because the only reason I really want to do that is because you guys don't know, I'm kind of known for having like the Turbo YZ dirt bike. I know a few people follow me on here because of the truck, some because of the Ducati Grom, and then some because of the Turbo YZ 450 dirt bike. But the goal with this is I still want to be able to mount the actual dirt bike in the truck bed. I know I'm being super extra with it, but I think it would be cool. Because the tailgate and everything is still functional. This is all steel. Everything back here is all steel. Big advocate for all steel, all glass cars. But basically by having those rear window bars with the X brace, that would allow me to bring, I guess that would be like the approach angle on the bike, higher, which will in turn bring the rear tire of the bike in more. Because right now, with the bed at the stock length, I think this is like a 5.5 inch or a 5.5 foot bed, which is slightly shorter than my dirt bike. But by having those rear bars, it'll basically bring it in more, so I can still close the tailgate and everything. Might even put like a little mini winch to winch it up into the bed. We can fit it. But like I said, once again, a lot of this stuff is just coated just so it doesn't rust, because I do plan on having all of this powder coated and filled in. Get some tubs in here. Then pretty much, you know, work on the fit and finish of everything. But yeah, it's coming together. People gotta understand these type of builds take time, so it's one thing to build it, and then it's a completely other thing to get the fit and finish right. I'll spend quite a bit of time on that, because I still got to get it painted. I got to get everything stripped down. I got to get everything stripped off, put it on a rotisserie, and yeah, just go from there. But still gonna have AC, electric power steering, as you can see. Drive-by-wire. I might be like the first guy to do that on the motor making that type of horsepower, but I like the drive-by-wire stuff. I think it's cool. It's a lot of neat tricks you could do with it, but yeah, nice little update on the truck. So probably like within the next week or so, I'll have my new motor plates, because I did kind of fuck up on that a little bit. I ordered them a little bit too short, because it didn't dawn on me like how wide these heads are on this thing. And if I would have ran the original ones that I had, it would have been a nightmare to take the engine out, because the actual mounting plate off of the chassis, the motor plate bar, that would have been like in this area right here. So I'm gonna just eat the cost, get some new ones, longer. But those are some nice plates too, because they were like 1/2-inch billet too. Marty Mirlet actually made them for me. So get them like 3 inches longer per side, and just fix that the right way. And yeah, pretty much go from there. Work on the turbo kit maybe in the next couple weeks or so. So it should be quite a few updates coming up soon. So stay on the lookout for it. I know a lot of people have been on my ass about making progress on this thing, but it's not cheap, and it takes a lot of willpower and resources to make this stuff happen. I don't have sponsors like a lot of these guys do, just getting free stuff. But I mean, people want to jump on board, I'm all for it. If you think I could campaign your products the right way, shoot me an email. It's in the description. And yeah, pretty much go from there.